Some people say it's the worst episode written, while others say it's the best. Either way, why is there still so much talk about Cat Blanc even after 5 years of its premiere? Whenever there's a significant event in the show, we return to the episode to see if there were any implications. So, welcome back to Jeffrey Talks. I'm Jeff, and today we're talking about the impact Cat Blanc had on the show and the implications for future plotlines. Before we get started, if you're interested in more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. To sum up the episode, Marinette uses her ladybug powers for her own reasons, to give a gift to Adrienne. This led to a near-apocalyptic scenario where Cat Noir was akumatized as a part of a plan devised by his father, Gabriel, who discovered that Adrienne was Cat Noir while he was saving Marinette from being akumatized. However, at the end of the episode, Ladybug retained the memory of the horrific version of Cat Noir that she saw. The episode might seem like a regular time travel episode at first glance, but many events that occurred in the other timeline have been tweaked in a way that still happened in the main timeline. I'll be going over everything in detail before we look at the predictions for Season 6 and Miraculous World London, which are set to come during the fall, or at least the special as confirmed by the creator himself. We'll kick things off with a discussion of Adrinette, the main ship in the episode. Unlike Ephemeral, which is another what-if scenario where Lady Noir was the first ship to be canon, Cat Blanc followed the ship Adrinette. It all started with a kiss, which was the same thing that the arc ended with. Along the way, they had to deal with one obstacle: Gabriel aggressed. As in Cat Blanc, Gabriel and Marinette faced off again in Season 5, Episode 19, Pretension. This time, Marinette must choose between continuing with Adrienne or losing everything. The change to our timeline is that Marinette never went along with what Gabriel wanted. She stood up to him, and it ended up being one of the strongest scenes in the season.
And that's the good thing about being a baker's daughter. I don't even need to try them to know that they're tasteless.
I'd also like to point out that in both cases, the characters were separated. In Cat Blanc, Marinette broke up with Adrienne because of Gabriel, and Adrienne was upset. In Revolution, Adrienne ended it with Marinette, and they had a strong kiss before they were separated. Let's move on from Adrinette and talk about Gabriel, Cat Blanc, and the end of the world. In the Season 5 finale, Gabriel came up with a plan to akumatize the entire world, get the Miraculous, and bring back his wife. Up until the confrontation, that was his goal, but Marinette's words made him realize the importance of Adrienne's happiness in all of this. But the wish still happened, and a giant beam of light has covered the whole world. Something similar happened in Cat Blanc, didn't it? The two adversaries, Ladybug and Hawkmoth, fight as they try to convince Cat Blanc who is right, but the villain unleashes a world-ending cataclysm that kills them both. So, in both episodes, we saw a similar world-ending event with Gabriel disappearing in both, but in one, Adrienne was left all alone knowing all the secrets, while in the other, he was surrounded by the people he loved but doesn't realize that he lives in a world full of lies. Now, let's move on from the canon stuff that paralleled what happened in Cat Blanc. We'll talk about the mental scars that Cat Blanc left on Marybug and how they affected the relationship between the duo and the future of the show. Let's start with Marybug. As we mentioned earlier, she remembers what happened in Cat Blanc, but unlike Bonix, she doesn't know much about it. She only knows that Cat Blanc happened because Cat Noir knew who she was. This had an impact on her and led to a rift between our duo in Season 4. On top of everything else that happened in Season 4, Marybug was trying to keep her distance from Cat Noir to protect her identity. She couldn't trust him with the Ladybug Miraculous in Haxan, and she even became paranoid about being betrayed by her very own best friend. She even thinks that whatever problem she and Cat Noir have, he'll get akumatized, which would blind her logical thinking. Even if it was for the sake of the plot, she didn't realize that Kuruneko is a sentient being. It seemed like Season 4 was setting the stage for a return of Cat Blanc, but even though it felt like everything was resolved in one episode, Cat Blanc returned as a thought in the finale. While everyone thought that Risk's power would force Ladybug to open up, that didn't happen. Ladybug still bottles her emotions and secrets, unable to open up to Cat Noir.
I don't need you to protect me. We'll never get akumatized.
You don't know what you're talking about!
In Season 5, there were several instances where Ladybug should have mentioned Cat Blanc. For instance, in the Paris special, Cat Noir was literally transformed into a heroic Cat Blanc. Similarly, in Jubilation, Ladybug had seen Cat Noir in a white suit in her dream. However, the most significant moment was when Cat Noir was affected by Night Tormentor's powers and had a nightmare, where he was akumatized into a villain similar to Cat Blanc named Anti-Cat. Also, Adrienne couldn't remove that nightmare because Ladybug couldn't use her miraculous Ladybug power to return everything to normal. This nightmare not only stopped Adrian from telling Marinette who he really was, but it also stopped him from joining the final battle with his lady. This contradicts what happened in Cat Blanc, where our heroes were meant to defeat Hawkmoth together. As we mentioned earlier, it seems that a new world is on the horizon, a world where Adrian is truly supported by everyone he loves. However, it's based on lies that he believes in, secrets that he doesn't know, and things that should be revealed. It's unclear if the miraculous Ladybug fixed the effects of Nitro Mentor's powers after the battle. It seems like it did. So, if Adrian forgot about the nightmare, Marinette is now dealing with it even more than before. She knows the truth about Gabriel, and she needs to open up about it instead of bottling it all in like she's doing with Cat Blanc. In an interview with the writers that we discussed in a different video, the writers said that although Adrian didn't live through the events of Cat Blanc, he's still affected by them. They didn't go into detail, but I think it's because it affects Marinette, it will also affect Adrian. Given everything we've discussed, it's clear that Cat Blanc continues to influence our characters and shows us things that were meant to happen, even if they were tweaked in some way in the main timeline. So, what's next on the horizon? What events from Cat Blanc might make it into our timeline, but in a different way? I'll start with my expectations for the London special before I move on to Season 6. The London special trailer makes one thing clear: sadness is a big part of the story. Every frame of the teaser trailer shows characters who are sad, including Adrian, Kagami, Bug Noir, Nuru, Natalie, and even Bonix. So, what's the story behind them all being stuck together, and how does it tie in with Cat Blanc? I think we'll get a reveal in this episode, but not the identity reveal. It'll be a reveal of one of our characters to a secondary character. As in Cat Blanc, one of the main revelations is that Natalie knows Adrian's identity and tells Hawkmoth. However, in the main timeline, I think Natalie will discover Marinette's secret identity as Ladybug instead. Bug Noir and Natalie hug sadly during the trailer. It's possible that Bug Noir explains what happened during the battle and needs information about Adrian and Kagami's whereabouts. She might reveal her identity to her at that time. Natalie helped Marinette defeat Gabriel, and since we know she'll be more developed in the next season, there must be something that changed throughout the 3 months epilogue. I think it's her knowing the secret. Next, I have another idea about what might be going on with the special. It could be that Adrian will be akumatized. Unfortunately, that's all I could come up with. It looks like we've got another time travel episode on our hands, with the same villain yet again, Adrian Agreste. Marinette would have to fight with her love this time, without knowing that he is Cat Noir. Unlike Ephemeral, she will also retain the memory, which means she'll remember both Cat Blanc for Cat Noir and Time Master for Adrian. In Cat Blanc, it seems like it was bound to happen, that Cat Noir would become akumatized. If they focused on the sadness and secrets behind it all, it might trigger Adrian to be manipulated by Lila into becoming Time Master, a villain with time-themed superpowers. Time Master would try to rewind time and save his father, which would lead to Ladybug defeating him and giving him the twin rings. We see the villain in front of some ruins, which is probably where the battle took place and where Adrian would want to find out exactly what happened. I think Marinette was tired and smiling at Adrian's face in the final episode because she was finally able to relax after saving him from the Akuma. Regarding Season 6, there is one final event in Cat Blanc that has not yet occurred in our main timeline. This is the reveal. From the trailer, we can see that Marinette is watching Adrian again. But what if she thinks he's hiding something? That would mean Adrian could also be looking for answers to the secrets Marinette is hiding too. It would also mean they both revealed the secret identities at the same time, unlike in Cat Blanc and Ephemeral, where it started with a one-sided reveal. The only synopsis we have for Season 6 so far confirms the ongoing theme of secrets and revelations. They call the identities their biggest secret, so Season 6 should introduce us to a new trope where they try to uncover each other's secrets but also open up about already hidden ones. What was your favorite theory from our discussion? Do you think Cat Blanc has a significant impact on the show? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.